Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Distance Dilemma podcast. This is episode number 31. This is our long distance friendship podcast. My name is Shaun, and I'm in Dublin. This is Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland, and I'm not going to ask him how he is because I don't care. No, that's a bit harsh. That's a bit harsh. I do care. I absolutely love the man to bits. But we have something to tell you. This isn't an ad, by the way. This sounds like the start of a sales pitch to an ad, but that's not the case. If you listen to the end of last week's episode, you probably already know this news. But me and Imran are just going to take a small break for a couple of weeks from the podcast. There's no particular bad fueled reason for it. We just are taking a little break because I'm going to be on holidays for 2 weeks. I have to go to a work conference for a week in September as well. Imran's coming back to Ireland, and just where our schedules being quite opposite, we know we're going to struggle to fit in time to record episodes of Distance Dilemma for the next few weeks. So we've just said it might be easier just to say we're going to take a little break and then we're going to come back. So the last episode will get published on the 1st of September. Or, no, sorry. I think that's correct. Hold on. Is that
Something
correct?
like that.
Anyway, there's this episode. There'll be another episode next week. And then we'll take a little break and we'll be back on the 6th of October. 6 a.m. Irish time, 7 a.m. CET, Central European time. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, hello, Imran. How are you, my friend? Great to see you as always.
Good. I had an interesting week. I don't think, maybe some of our listeners already know. I had an issue on Monday where my accounts were frauded. So I actually didn't tell Shaun about this. I only told him about what happened on my social medias. So I had to cancel both my cards. Luckily, there was no money taken out of my account. I had to sort out a situation with the police, and then also had to go to my bank and sort details out there. So thankfully nothing was taken out. That's all sorted. And then I thought it was finished, and then on Tuesday morning around 7 a.m. Nicola rang my phone 6 times, and I didn't answer. Sorry, I was half asleep, and then I answered it. I was able to crawl out of bed and grab the phone. And she told me that my Instagram had been hacked, and so I was able to get that sorted luckily as well. They were only on my account for about half an hour, but I was just happy enough that they didn't be able to get into the Distance Dilemma podcast Instagram account or any of my bank details or anything like that. The only thing that is gone is my post, which is a bit annoying, but what can you do? That's life. But yeah, interesting week for me. And then I've had 2 days off now, so I'm kind of recharging the batteries, as they say.
Jeez, how do you know how this kind of came up with that? I didn't know about the whole bank account thing. I knew about the social media thing.
Yeah, so I won't get into it too much, but essentially I received a phone call and I answered the phone and it sounded like an automated message. Now normally I'd hang up in these situations like any normal regular person would, but this was in German, so it's the first time I've obviously experienced fraud here. And it was someone reaching out from the police station, which I thought was a bit unusual because it's not something that normally would be the norm. Back at home, it's normally someone being oh, what's your card details? Da, da, da. Anyway, they were able to keep me on the phone for about 8 to 10 minutes, and obviously through that process, they maybe were able to get some details. Now I was very cautious. I didn't really speak much. I was kind of I kind of knew it was halfway during the whole conversation. I kind of had a feeling that it was frauding or heading towards that way. So anyway, I ended up hanging up, rang Nicola. We kind of talked about it for a bit. She advised me just to go down to the guard station, make sure that there wasn't, because they did also give me a badge number. They gave me a case study number, and I just went down to the guard station, asked them, is this how the whole format would go? Obviously you don't know. In fairness to the lady at the counter, she was really nice, so she was able to tell me that they don't give out them details over the phone, that you would get a letter to the post, which is kind of common sense, but I just wanted to make sure that there was no issues or anything like that. But luckily enough, it's all good in the hood. I've just had to cancel my cards now. It's been weird. I'm walking around with just using cash, which I don't normally do. Obviously I get tips from the pub and stuff, but I normally save them and then I put them into my account that way. So it was weird walking around now. I still haven't received my card. I think it's meant to come on Monday. So, but luckily we're all good in the hood. I don't know if you actually seen the post on the Instagram, but I think it was sunglasses.
No, I didn't see that, and I hadn't a clue. I just when I heard about it, I was what link did he click?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that was my first reaction of like, what link is he after clicking, or did like was like, were you in the house by yourself having some time, having some fun time, and did you click a dodgy link or something? Like that was my concern, like but yeah, I mean, like it's one of the, it sounds like, so I think my first reaction there was like, oh, of course you would know, like because I get a scam call like once a week, like but because of the language barrier, because of the new country, because like
Hmm.
what you're saying, like it makes sense that it may not have translated directly to you of like, oh, this is just how they might do things over here, like it's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
something
yeah.
I honestly wouldn't have thought of happening, like.
Yeah, she was even saying like the guard at the counter. She was like, "How are you meant to know? Because like obviously you're used to a different format of fraud within Ireland. Like, yeah,
Mm.
she was saying, for example, you get calls from the bank or you get calls from like a robot. Where this was like, and I was saying to Nicola at the time, it sounded so professional. Like the way I was on on a hold, the way that the person at the counter was speaking to me, saying that they needed to forward me on to someone. Like it was all very formatted and very professionally done. And I was like, oh damn, like they're moving up in the world with all their fraud things. So anyway, look, at least the matter was sorted. But when I went onto my Instagram after, I was so basically they got into my account on the Instagram, but I was able to log into the account because I'm still on my Instagram on my phone, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
they didn't change the password or anything like that, so I was able to still click into my account. So as soon as I got into my account, deleted all their posts that they had posted. They posted some like sunglasses and like um kind of like discount price or something like that. I don't know what it was. I deleted them, and then from there I basically changed all my passwords. My Instagram was linked to my Facebook, so I had to go into my Facebook, check that there was nothing wrong there, logged out of all that kind of stuff. But it was all wrapped up in about 45 minutes. I haven't had anything
Mm.
issues weird. The only thing that was weird was that they actually like deleted my post because like there's a section on Instagram, people don't know this, but if they do or not, if you delete your photos, you can get them back within 30 days. Like there's like a section in Instagram for you
Yeah.
to retrieve them. You can also archive them as well. Um, like a lot of people done that, like all their old embarrassing photos when they're like 2016, 2014.
Don't know
But
what you're talking about.
you
No
know what
idea
I'm
what you're
talking
talking
about,
about.
yeah,
No.
yeah, anyway, but yeah, so they deleted them from there as well, so that was a bit annoying. So it's a small world problem, but like I'm just thankfully nothing major came out of it. Like they didn't text
Mm.
anyone, like trying to scam anyone. I think it was because Nicola hopped on so quickly within the half an hour period. Like who knows if they would have been on for like 4 or 5 hours, then maybe it would have something else would have happened. But
Yeah, they
happy,
probably
happy.
like, my guess would be they got your Instagram and stuff because they had you. The thing is, and like this is advice for anybody who may get a scam call. The second you think it's a scam call, hang up.
Blocked
Like,
it
and
number.
if they try and call you back, hang up. And if it's any official correspondence, they will send you an email, and then you can like kind of track it down from there, or they'll send you a letter in the post or something like that. But the longer you stay on the line with them, the more information they can get out of you. So what I imagine happened there was they kept you on the line long enough to track down your IP address,
Yeah.
and if like they can use technology to like use basically use a VPN to act like you there where you are, and like
Mm-hmm.
use like auto login things. Now I'm not like the most, I don't know how to hack accounts on that level. I know like the very basic of like that's how they do it, So that's what I'm assuming would happen with you, like.
It's scary to think like how good they are at getting at it now. Like I can see
Mm.
why so many people are scammed in that way. Like, and it was so different to the way that I've had phone calls before back in Ireland, where you know straight away it's fraud, and like you know
Mm.
what I mean. Like it's the usual bullshit. Where this was so professionally done. Like the weird thing for me was that they knew my address, they knew my full name, and they knew obviously my phone number from ringing me. So like, but when I was talking to the guard, she was saying that this is like in Switzerland, this is very not. It's easy to find someone's information like that because their database is in Switzerland for like cantonal areas, so basically like Bern and stuff like that. It's like public knowledge, so
Mm.
people have public knowledge of where you live and stuff like that, which is a bit weird to think. But again, like they have really really low crime rates, so to them, she was saying like this is normal. But she said now, like just in future, then you would just block and stuff like that. But it was the first time I'd experienced something like a fraud where I had believed it to be true. Do you know what I mean? Like where I was in two minds, where every other instances I've ever had before that was grand. But yeah,
Yeah.
luckily, fingers crossed, nothing's happened so far. How's your week been? Let's talk about you.
My week has been pretty grand, pretty mundane. I had something happen today, and I purposely didn't tell you about this before we came on because I
Hmm.
wanted to share this with you as we were recording because I wanted to get your reaction for the podcast. So I'm about to share my screen, and viewer discretion is advised for anybody who's watching the podcast.
Okay. No. Okay, for context for people just listening to this on Spotify or Apple, it's a photo of Betsy being essentially just carried away. I'm guessing she's being brought to the scrapyard.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
shit.
have a video and
Okay.
everything.
I have a video.
We'll have to post this on the Instagram. So long. Is
Goodbye,
it
my
me? You?
lover. Goodbye, my friend. Yeah, Betsy passed today at about 1:30.
So
So to
that's the
speak.
last time you'll be
Yeah, I drove her for the last time
driving.
this morning. I drove her to the gym,
Did
and
you take the
then
CD out?
no, I didn't. And like I thought about it as he was taking it away, but I was like, I actually just couldn't be arsed. Like it's not like
I'm joking.
it is funny for the two of us, but like if I
Let's let the CD die with Betsy.
yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
how she would have wanted it, like and
Rest in
yeah.
peace,
So
Betsy.
I go to collect my new car tomorrow, so I'm picking up my new one tomorrow morning. So I've got technically not got a car for a day. Well, actually, and this week technically I became the owner of. I had two cars at one point this week. Now I have one,
Woo.
and I will have two again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because as many of you know, my mother passed away last year. It was actually her anniversary yesterday, and I finally got her basically because my mum like never left a will. There was like loads of complications with getting her car like put in my name, but that finally got settled only like this week. So I now officially own a BMW. So I'm gonna start beeping at learner drivers. I'm gonna stop washing my hands after I go to the toilet.
Yup the Beamers.
But yeah, it's a good car, but it's just like the car that I'm getting to replace Betsy is a taller car. It's a Qashqai, like it's a taller car, it's wider
Standard
because I need all that boot space
music
um for them, yeah, for all the music gear pretty much, and like just
for the
generally as well.
doggo.
Like one thing I didn't like about Betsy like from the get go was how like I had to like crawl into the car because of my height, whereas like I like test drove the Qashqai that I'm buying and I test drove like one of my friend's Qashqais and like I like just slid into the car. Like it was
Yeah, they're
so
much bigger cars
smooth
as well.
and like it fit my frame a lot better. Not even like width, like just height wise. It was it was what I needed.
It's funny, like little things like that that you don't even think about before buying a car, like about
Yeah,
slipping into cars and like how comfortable the car is for like your size or your height or whatever. Like,
yeah. It's because I think like when you get your first car, like well, because Betsy was both of our first cars,
yeah,
like you just like want a car, like it doesn't matter. And then like as you go along, like like I didn't have that when I was like when I bought Betsy off you. Like I think we've mentioned this before, but like I wasn't like I was thinking of asking you, and then you text me and said, "Do you want to buy the car?"
it
Which
just
ended up
suited
being great.
for the
It just
time. Yeah,
it was just
yeah,
perfect passing of the torch, So I didn't necessarily like shop for Betsy. Like Betsy was kind of almost like like putting the palm in my hand,
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
What
Betsy done with.
and have you put like the down payment? Like, how did you like? I remember when I went to go buy my car. Like, I had to went to the I went to the garage. Like, I prepaid, like shook his hand and stuff like that. Did they do the same process with you, or was it like you
No,
do it like
so
online or?
yeah, I bought mine on Facebook Marketplace. That was where I got my
Okay,
car.
yeah, but you
Um,
obviously went and saw the car first, in presume.
went and saw. So I drove. So my guitar player in my band, Paul, actually has a Nissan Qashqai,
Okay,
and we are kind of like. There's been this joke since Paul's joined the band over the last month or two that I only asked Paul to be in the band because he looks a lot like me, and it's like a stage thing. It's a doppelganger thing of like because he's also a tall guy with a amber beard and we do look. I have to say, like I was only after I met him for the first time after having phone conversations. So I was like, he looks a bit like me. And like that's a weird thing to say about yourself. Like the way some other people usually say that about you and other people. Like, and I clocked it straight away, going, "That's mad." but Paul has a Qashqai, and I was considering getting one, and I didn't actually know this when I was shopping around. He was like, "Oh, I have a Qashqai," so like we're not doing that trope any favors. That we look identical, and now we have the same car. You know, his is white and mine's black. But sorry, to get back to your question, what you actually asked. Sorry, I went in a bit of a spiel there. So I bought it on Facebook Marketplace. I test drove Paul's car, so I knew like what it was supposed to feel like. And
Yeah.
then I went down and I was looking around like since pretty much since the car got hit. Like I've been like kind of window shopping on Facebook Marketplace. Saw one at a price that I liked, a color that I liked, and yeah, texted the guy and met him last week. So I drove down to his place last week, looked at the car, and like gave it a little test drive and stuff. And then we said, yeah, okay, grand. I got it for a little bit less than what he had it listed for, and it was just done on a handshake basis because I, as we know from the podcast and anybody who knows me personally knows, I hate dealing with cash. So I was like, I'm not gonna take 18.
Yeah. So did you
But,
get
okay.
him down? Did you get him down to a lower price? Did you try like?
Yeah, so we negotiated down a little bit, just because like I was gonna have to service the car. It was in
Mhm.
entity and stuff, but like no, like just when you get a new car, you should always get it serviced.
Yeah,
So I
you
was like,
should
I'm
always
just
get
thinking of that.
service.
And there was a very small. No, I say Simone's stepdad Monum, who you know came with us,
Good. Roberto Carlos.
and yeah, he just was like, I'm not 100% on that gearbox, which could max cost like 400 or 500 quid to fix. So
Yeah.
we kind of came to him with that in mind of like, okay, with those two things in mind, like, would you be willing to come down a little bit? Settled on a price, and he just said on the spot. Then, so tomorrow I'm gonna go down to his house. I'm gonna transfer him the money. He can see me transfer while I watch him transfer the car into my
Yeah.
name on the motor tax website, and then good to go. Then we take the road with a new car, which is gonna be
It's
mad.
mad all the things you need to think about when you're buying a car for the first
Yeah.
time, or even the second time around for your case.
Well, it technically is my first time buying a car.
Yeah, technically
Properly.
it's
It's
your
my first
buying
time
a
like
car.
browsing and thinking about what I wanted. Like we were saying there, like Betsy was kind of just like it
Yeah,
was
here,
putting the car in my
show us
hand,
the money on
like,
Revolut. Yeah, it was literally like
yeah,
throw us the money on Revolut whenever you can, like and
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
literally.
that.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Do you, do
excited.
you get do you get many people saying like you look like other people before? Like, do you have like a celebrity lookalike that people say?
When I was younger, I never agreed with this. But when I was younger, before I grew a beard out, people used to say I looked a little bit like Sam Smith. I don't agree with that.
Oh, a little bit,
Um,
a little bit. No, no, no. When you had that like quiff haircut and you were like clean shaven, yes, you looked a little bit like Sam Smith. Yeah.
this is because that's all it was. It was the same haircut, and I just didn't have any facial hair. You know.
Yeah, but you had a similar like face shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the only one. That's the only one I can like think off the top of my head. That I would get a little bit. I would get compared to like it's something I never know whether to take this as a compliment or not because this character isn't particularly like he's the reason the character is what he is because he's quite annoying and childish and stuff. But I used to get always compared a little bit to Smithy from Gavin and Stacey as well.
Yeah, I
A little
mean,
bit.
yeah.
But I think that's just because I was like the chubby one of our mates.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
just
I
it's
think,
it's an easy relation, that connection there.
yeah.
You
Like
know
I
what I
see where
get
people
all
are
the
angry.
time? You know what
What's
I get
that?
all the time? No, not that. Just only when I don't shave. Actually, I get Barry Keoghan a lot. A lot.
Okay, yeah,
Do you know
I
why?
can see that.
People say it's because of my nose.
I would have said
Because
because
I got like
hairline.
or my hair. Yeah, we kind of have similar hair.
But like and
Uh,
you've also got a similar shape face as well. Like I can see that angle for sure.
If Barry Keoghan was half Pakistani, that's me, baby. Then the new Beatles biopic.
Biopatch, I love that. I went to see for the first time last night. I'd never seen this movie before, but it was re-released. Interstellar.
You've never seen Interstellar?
Well, I have now.
What? So you were giving out to me last week for never watching Shawshank.
Sorry,
and then
no,
he's-
hold on a
no.
minute. Shawshank and Interstellar are on two very different fucking platforms in terms of essential movies.
Interstellar is like one of the top 10 movies of all time. I stand by that. I don't care. Like, what was your opinion on the film? And you
Yeah,
saw it in
excellent,
cinema.
excellent.
Excellent. It's amazing. film.
Excellent. It's a fucking brilliant film. But like that's the thing. Like so, the reason I hadn't seen it, I've had opportunities to watch Interstellar, and it's
But you
been
want to
like
watch it in cinema, I'm presuming.
kind of, yeah. I wanted to watch it on a proper screen, like, I didn't want to watch it on my laptop or like on my
yeah,
shitty like 32-inch LG. Like, I was like, if I want to watch it, I'm gonna watch it like on like someone's OLED TV, or when I bought like when I buy a TV, I want to buy it on my own, watch it on my own. And like the TV we have in there is really good, but like we tried to do a similar thing when we first, like the first week we had that, we rented the Batman, the Matt Reeves one.
yeah.
So I was like, oh my god, this would be epic. Like, and it was good, like, but it was like so different to the cinema. Like, like that film. I went to see that film in the cinema 3 times, and like if that got re-released in cinemas, I would go and watch that in the cinema again. Like, because like that's a film you want to see in the cinema. Like, and I kind of just felt Interstellar was something I wanted to watch on a proper screen. So I've
Okay,
kept putting off, and they've basically re-released all the Nolan films because the Odyssey is coming out soon.
it's coming out. Yeah.
So they literally have like they've done the whole Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Memento, Tenet, like everything. And yeah, we went to screen last night for Interstellar, and
Right.
like I
What's your review?
I'd probably give it like I really really enjoyed it. It's probably my top 2 or 3 Nolan films
Yeah.
for sure. Um, it's still quite raw. Like, I think I like need, but like the one thing about the film is like I had like a bag of popcorn, some Maltesers, and another snack in my bag, and I wanted to reach for them, but I could not take my eyes off the screen because
Yeah.
every single frame of that film is
It's
like a
beautiful.
poster. You could
Yeah.
put any frame from that film in the Louvre. Like, it looks incredible, which is why I wanted to watch it, and I watched it in IMAX as well.
Did
And
you?
yeah,
Obviously, there's probably loads of things you're gonna find out about the movie. You probably already know a lot about it from TikTok and
I
stuff
I
like
did
that and
know
stuff
about
like
the
that.
scene of him. Like, I knew like that it was a film about them going on a space exploration, and time worked differently for them.
Mm,
I knew that basic premise. I didn't
mm,
know the reason why they left Earth, which I'm not going to go into too much for anybody who hasn't seen it. Again, you should really see it, but I would also recommend seeing it in a cinema if you can, which is hard to
I
do
agree with
nowadays,
Sean.
obviously. Like, but if you can at least watch it on like a really good TV, because it's one of those films that like you will appreciate watching that on a big screen because it's just so so gorgeous. You
Nicola
know,
watched it for the first time last year, and it's our favorite film that she's ever seen. She's
yeah,
even said it now. We've watched it 3 times since now, and I remember the first time. First time I watched it, I thought it was alright, and then I watched it 2 other times, and I thought the second time I watched it, I just thought it was brilliant. And then I rewatched it again there with Nicola about a month ago because when Nicola likes a film, she likes watching it over and over again,
mm,
and then she likes finding out more information about that film. Like, she'll come home and tell me stuff about Interstellar that I didn't even pick up on. Um, kind of, I'll give you like something that I think is cool. So they go to. This is a spoiler for anyone who has listening.
oh,
They
well,
go
like,
to Miller.
keep,
Yeah,
keep it like, yeah,
yeah. Well, they go to Miller's planet. Okay, essentially.
yeah,
And if you don't know, you'll probably think about, or you'll watch it back again. There's a clicking noise in the background. You probably heard it. It's like click, 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 click.
right,
Now you'll probably have to think about it. You'll probably watch it again, or you can research it after. But every click is an hour that's gone by on Earth. So while you're there, it's like you're hearing click, click, click. So the
mm,
time is moving so much more quicker than it is on Earth than they were on Miller's planet, and that's why when they do get off Miller's planet, so much years has passed, and obviously you see it. He goes into the booth, he sees his daughter and his son are like much older,
mm.
and you hear this like constantly through that whole scene. I remember the first time I didn't pick up on that as well, so that's
Mm.
another thing as well.
Film
Also,
that
there was no CGI used in the film,
that doesn't
which is
surprise me.
crazy.
I was like dead ass like watching that film. I was
Yeah,
like, they definitely went on location for this. They definitely went to Saturn for this.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's
like
a lot of it's filmed in Iceland, some in Greenland as well, and then obviously some of it is in the States, obviously like where they're staying on the farms and stuff.
mm,
But yeah, it's an amazing movie. Matthew McConaughey is brilliant in it. It's actually funny because I started watching. I think you've heard about this before. True Detective is like a
mm.
crime series, but
Yeah,
the
I've heard
first
it. Yeah.
season of it won an award years ago with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, and I'm actually watching it now, and man, I have to say it's brilliant. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's a hard watch because it is very slow. But the on-screen performance from the both of them, like I'm so involved in their friendship and relationship on screen that I'm getting lost in the show. But each episode is like an hour long, but it's a slow watch. No, I do think you really like it. I think definitely give it a watch. Maybe let me finish it and then I'll give you like a full review. But another one that I also love both of them actors as well. I think they're class.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one that I like will probably get to down the line. Like it's not something like it is on my kind of hit list to get to eventually. Like I'm trying to finish off like the what's kind of considered the GOAT ones, like which
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty much finished with once I finish The Wire. We're on me and Spawn on season 2 of The Wire now, and yeah, like it's pretty good so far. I just still don't think it's at like Saul and Breaking Bad levels yes just yet, and I still don't think like season 2 of The Wire. Now I'm still like halfway through the season, but like I still don't think that's hit like Better Call Saul season 2 levels. Which like depending on your view of Better Call Saul, you might think, oh god, because Saul can be quite slow, and I know you weren't
Yeah.
the biggest fan of Saul,
Mhm.
but I ended up like loving Better Call Saul. Like I think Saul is a slight bit better than Breaking Bad. Like but that can kind of change when you ask me. Like um, so I'm optimistic for where this could go, and like it's one of those shows that I've never anybody who I've said I'm watching it to that has seen it. Not one person has said a bad word. Whereas like when you say you're watching Breaking Bad, or you say you're watching Sopranos or Game of Thrones, like you'll get a mix of like I find like with popular shows like that, you'll get like an 80-20 mix of it's brilliant and it's shy.
Mhm.
Because some people just didn't think it lived up to the hype, and everyone has gone to me with The Wire. Not they've not said like it's like gonna blow your mind. They've just said that's a fucking really good show, like
Yeah, yeah.
solid like that way. Like
I've watched
so
like two or three episodes over the year. It's another one that's on my list to fully watch through. I think I've got like three of the big shows to watch left, and that would be like Dexter all the way through. I have to watch Sopranos all the way through. I have to watch, and then The Wire all the way through to watch. They're
I
like
would
the
leave
top three
Sopranos till
big ones.
like
Yeah,
the
again,
very
like
end.
again, that's like personal opinion because like for Shaun, for example, our AD trans studies, but like I have
Yeah,
another person who's a good when he loves it and he quotes all
yeah.
the time. So it's again, that's what I love about films and series. Like everything is their own personal opinion and perspective. Well, anything really, like art and everything.
Yeah,
This would
I've
be a
like
great transition, but we'll let you finish.
well, I'm just gonna say that like I have been obsessed with Dexter. Like it's been, I think I've talked about it, like most weeks on the podcast this year. But like Dexter is so good, and like it definitely has bumps in the road. It's not a perfect show, but
Never.
especially like the new stuff. Like they've like Dexter was like originally ran for like 8 years, and like over the last like 3 or 4 years. Now I've only gotten into Dexter this year, so I'm only kind of catching up on all this lore now.
Mm.
But like over the last 3 or 4 years, they've just started to like bring it back in different ways. So like they had a sequel show called New Blood, which was pretty interesting. People, the ending to like literally Dexter's grand until like the last half an hour of the last episode. It's a really disappointing ending, and so New Blood kind of tries to fix that. And New Blood is, I think, is fine. Some people really don't like it. I think it's like it's on par with the rest of Dexter. I think it's like it's not the best season, but it's nowhere near the worst. It's like it's very like middle of the road Dexter, and then you've got the prequel series, which is Original Sin, which is brilliant. And the fellow who plays Dexter is Irish. His name is Patrick Gibson. I think he's from Kildare or Kilkenny or something like that.
Good
But
man.
he's so good as Dexter. And then you've got Dexter Resurrection, which like is like shaping up to be like it's shaping up to be one of the best seasons of Dexter ever. And like season 4 of Dexter, man, is like season 4, season 5 Breaking Bad. Like it's
Mhm.
insanely brilliant. Like every episode is just unbelievable. So it's
Prequels
shaping
and
up.
sequences are very hard to do well from
Yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
original series, and like I stand by this with a lot of shows. Like Game of Thrones right now is currently one. They have House of Dragon. Um, I wouldn't really call Better Call Saul. Yeah, it is essentially it is its own on its own, but it is a storyline that's involved with Breaking Bad as well. So
Mm.
that's another one. But like it's always hard to you know when a show does really well in media or on like a major platform with many people watching, it's always hard to like co-enact that with other things.
Mm.
So I mean, I'd be interested to see with Dexter. That'll be something definitely that me and you will be talking a lot about when
Yeah.
I do get along to
I
watching
think
it.
I think it's more the intent behind it, like, because when you look at like a lot of these shows being made nowadays, like a lot of them really just seem to be like cash grabs,
Yeah,
which like I get it, like, but I get that, and I get like that's the reason, like even the likes of Better Call Saul and Dexter that we were talking about there, like the reason their prequels got greenlit is because people want to make money. But at the heart of it, you've got the storytellers. You've got Vince Gilligan and Peter Safran for Breaking Bad, and you've got Clyde Phillips and Michael C. Hall and everybody else who works on Dexter. Like, you have to want them, and the reason those shows and those prequels work so well is because the people behind the screen really care about what's going on. Like, whereas like when you look at other stuff like, like you get like the Friends sequel series like Joey, or what's another example
you
of
know
one
what
of.
a good example of this would be like major companies signing with, for example, Star Wars and Marvel both signing with Disney,
Mm,
and they make these quick, short, low budget shows with like up and coming actors, and 90% of the time they don't hit. And this is my problem with, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, also a huge Marvel fan. Maybe I've been dropping off the past couple of years, but we're still here. Um, like we, on one hand, it's great that they signed with such a major company like Disney that can provide so much funding and opportunities for them to, bring characters into the universe and in Star Wars make different storylines. My biggest problem is there's too much quick money grab shows and films that ends up ruining my own opinion and perspective on the original Star Wars. Because, for example, like George Lucas, creator of Star Wars, he made only the first six. So 7, 8, 9 was produced by Disney, and yeah, okay, maybe they're not great. They did a decent job, I suppose. But I mean, like following on to that now, and you look at Marvel, every couple of months is a new show, new series. And me and Sean both said I actually tried to watch that new show, Ironheart, and I think I watched like 20 minutes of the first episode, and I was like, nah, this is shit.
I
And I
didn't
turned
bother.
it
It
off.
was
Yeah,
That was the
it's
first
awful.
time I said I am not bothered with a
Yeah.
Marvel project, because like I've always gone off the ethos. I've said this to you for years. I've always gone off the ethos of like it's easier to watch them an hour week by week than
Mm.
like not watching them, having two or three shows to catch up on. Whereas like now I'm fully at the point of like I'm not tuning in unless I actually give a rat's,
Do you
for
think
like.
that? Do you think that you can see yourself completely ever falling off Marvel? Do you think it's getting to that point? Like I mean, for me, it was like I didn't really ever see that happening because I put so much time into Marvel over the years, and that I love the storylines and everything created. And then now I'm starting to believe, like going forward, I think I'm just going to end up watching the big movies. I don't think if they're making a lot of these spin-off series and I have no interest in the characters, I'm going to watch them.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. Like, you only have to look at like Sony Spider-Man films for that. Like, like we both love Spider-Man, and like we went to go and see Morbius and Madam Web and stuff, like. But I don't think either of us bothered with Craven. Did you?
No, I watched it in at home. I didn't go to the cinemas. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's that even, but like even that is a big thing for you to not go to the cinema and watch it, like, because like that's something
Mm.
that we always are like, no, let's go, because one, we like the cinema, but two, we also want to support cinema because less people are going, like, so like I with the Sony stuff now, I'm just like totally gone off it. I think Sony themselves are gone off it. Like, the only thing from Sony I'm watching at the moment is Spider Verse. Um. So like I don't see it being. I think it's more of like a pop culture thing now. Like, because the MCU, like before, like in the lead up to Endgame, like it was like a
Yeah.
thing. Like everybody was talking about it,
Everyone knew about it.
and it was a general audience thing, and it's starting to not become a general audience thing. So yeah,
For pe-
I think it's possible, but like I think it have to, like I think the next two Avengers films would have to be so bad that it would be that immediate. Like, I think it would just be like a steady downward decline. You
mm.
know.
For anyone listening, do let us know. We'll put up a post up during the week and give us your opinion on where the state of Marvel and the Marvel universe is at now. I'd like to hear other people's perspectives because I know we do have a lot of people that listen to the podcast that are major Marvel fans like myself and Sean. So do let us know. Do let us know.
Yeah. And then let us know of any other like kind of franchises, like TV shows or movies around like that that kind of just cash grabbed or went off the wire because of that,
Mm.
and they kind of ruined their legacy. Like one that kind of comes to mind for me is, and I don't know how I feel about it, and because different people feel different things, but the new season of Daredevil, I'm so conflicted on because there's elements I love and there's elements I hate about it,
I was only
and
really thinking about that the other day. I
yeah,
really have kind of changed my mind on it. I kind of, at first I think I was just excited for the return of the character, and a lot of the cast were coming back from the original season. But then when I thought back on it and I thought about the overall show, I don't think it hit, or I don't think the storyline and the plot was made it to be leave me excited to watch the future season that potentially that might be in the works.
mm.
I don't think they did a great job at that point. But then again, it's like, kind of, am I blaming cast? Am I blaming story writers? Like, it's always hard to see where my perspective on shows like that happen.
I think especially in the case of Born Again season one, because there is only one now, but season two is on the way. They're filming it. Like I think the problem with the big thing with it was is because it was so obviously, and like this is public information. Like I think Kevin Feige has admitted this to himself. The fact that the show was shot, they said it was shit, and they had to reshoot most of it and shoehorn a lot of stuff. Because the original plan was to not have any of the Netflix stuff be canon, just bring Charlie and
Mm.
D'Onofrio back as Matt and Fisk,
Yeah.
and then go and just go as like a reboot, like But then when they realized that was not working, they brought back in Karen Foggy, the original actress who played Vanessa, because Vanessa was recast. They brought back in Bullseye, Wilson Berthel, and that sort of stuff, and they made it. And I have a pretty hot take. I know people who have seen the show. I know this is a very unpopular opinion, but I think the original shot episodes, which are episodes 3 to 7, I believe, are the best episodes of it. And episodes 1, 8, and 9, they're good episodes, but like I don't think they're like I think they're trying too hard almost, to do it.
Mm.
Like, and it's, but no, the last two episodes are not as bad. But I hated the first episode. I hated the first episode of Borgen. Like, I was nearly crying because of how much I love Daredevil and how much I thought they fucked up by doing what they did at the very start, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody who hasn't seen it. You know,
Mm.
but like I was really, really concerned because it was very much Disneyfied. It lost like that kind of gritty edge, and like I really liked the bottle episode that they had in the bank when you had Miss Marvel's dad cameo and stuff. Like I really enjoyed that, and like while the stuff in the middle was a lot less like Daredevil focused and a lot more Matt focused, and it wasn't perfect, I kind of was enjoying that stuff a little bit more than like the kind of other stuff that was going on.
Mm.
I know that's not super popular, but it's where I'm at. But
Yeah.
I think season two will be a lot better because it's not going to be a shit show of two half shows put into one. It's going to be a
Mm.
full season with the showrunners from the original. So I'm optimistic for the future on Daredevil.
Mm. I'll leave that at that. I think you said. I think you spoke enough about
Speaking
the
for the
meaningful
people,
impact for speaking to people. Yeah.
yeah.
I think what we might do is run into our topic of the week.
Okay.
So last week we kind of spoke a little bit about the gig world, the concerts, etc. We talked a little bit about queues and kind of like our experiences, especially Sean's like being a big fan of the Coronas, and like he kind of talk about like his own issues with gigs and stuff like that. But I thought we talk about it on a bit of a brighter front, and I thought maybe we and Sean could like dissect some of the best concerts we've been to, some of the worst concerts we've been to, and different things that all around the environment of festivals and gigs and stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
cool, cool.
Okay. Cool. Do you want? Yeah, I'll let you kick off. This was your.
Yeah, yeah. So the first one, the first one I was going to ask Sean, and before we start, Sean has been to a lot of gigs over the years. Do you have a specific number? Do you know how many you've
I
been
know
to?
I've made Corona's gigs have been do. I would say like gigs in general across the
Overall,
board, at least
yeah,
115, at least
yeah,
110, 120 range. Like I would say, like if not a bit more, because
yeah. So like,
My Corona's gigs alone are in the 60s. So
yeah. So Sean's been to like a lot more than I have. Like I have a list. I've been to 35 gigs total. So I'm a lot less compared to Shaun.
That's like
A
half
lot
the
less.
Coronas gigs I've been to. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if that's really
But
cool
then if you
rubbish
think about it,
comparison.
he's going to the same show over and over and over again. So, you know, don't hate the hater.
Listen, lads. Like, and a lot of people like question me, especially my family. They look at me and go, "Are you okay? Like, what type of autism have you got?" You know,
Do whatever makes you happy,
for
bro.
real. But like the way I explain to people is like, lads, you know, do you ever listen to your favorite song just once? Do you watch your favorite
No.
film just once? No. Is this a bit more of a physical commitment? Yeah, but I fucking love it, and I'll leave that at
And
that.
there you go. Don't hate anyone else, brother. So yeah, let's go. What's the best gig you've been to? I kind of broke this down into two things. So there's the best
This is
gig I've
exactly
been
what
to.
Nicola was talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
last
yeah,
week.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
when you say gig, like we need to break it up into categories for
Breakdown
some reason.
answers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Blah.
Literally, this is me and Shaun 24/7. So first thing I'll say, what's the best gig? I mean, that you actually enjoyed yourself. So what's the most fun you've had at a gig? And then what's the best, like you were like, wow, that was amazing. That what's the best gig that you've been to?
Do you want me to go first? Yeah.
Yeah. You go
Okay,
first.
right, cool. Best gig I've ever been to, without a shadow of a doubt, is Foo Fighters in the RDS 2019.
Yeah.
Just like I was into the Foo Fighters a good bit, and I was like, oh yeah, we'll get tickets, like, you know. And I say we got tickets second hand like a week before the gig, like, you know. And I went to see the Foo Fighters live, and they just blew me away. Like I also am like the type of person I've always been since I was like 16, the type of person to like queue up really early for a gig and try and get a good spot up the front. I think I talked about it before on the podcast a little bit, so I won't go into it. But because I was a bit more of a kind of casual fan of the Foo Fighters, and you know, I wasn't, and we got tickets secondhand last minute off, and like I didn't get the tickets. My mate got the tickets, and my mate was coming from work at 6, so he finished work at 6. Doors opened at 6, so we weren't gonna be up close, like, you know. So like we were back, like at a stadium gig. We were like at like the second screen back, like, you know. And I was kind of went into it being like, God, like, you know, this would be a nice sing along for Everlong and Monkey Wrench and stuff like that. But like I was blown away by it, and I just cannot wait. I've not seen the Foo Fighters since. I was supposed to go and see them last year in Manchester,
Mm.
or Scotland. Yeah, it was Scotland. I was supposed to go and see them in, but unfortunately, just because of getting laid off and my mum dying and stuff, I couldn't do that. And I actually think I cried more at the fact I couldn't see the Foo Fighters than I did over my like getting laid off from my job and stuff. Like I was in bits when like me and Simone were like crunching numbers and being like, we just cannot make this work. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I started like proper ugly crying. Like, you know,
Shaun's a tear, guys. Shaun's a
I
tear.
am a tear guy. Like I was surprised I didn't cry in Interstellar. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm actually very surprised, especially when you say
Yeah,
it's good.
I was honestly expecting to. It's probably why I didn't, because I was expecting it.
Yeah. And then what? So like, is that the best performance you've seen, or what about like the most fun you've had at a gig? You know what I mean? Like, for example,
Um,
like one I can think off the top of us was me, you, Adam, and Dylan going to Liam. Like that was a fun
mm.
gig. You know what I mean? Is there one that you have an experience like that?
I don't know I don't know if I have one specific, like, you know, because I would say like I met at one of the Coronas gigs from a year or two recently. Like it kind of got to the point where I'd seen them so many times, and like I know the lads now, where like I like know their stage cues, and I know like what's next on the set list most of the time, like, you know. And like I can see when they fucked up, or when like even if like it's not super obvious, like, you know, and I go and like I just catch them, like, you know, stuff like that. And we've started doing like this thing where like in one of the songs, like, you know, if it says something very literally, we will like not make a dance because that sounds really weird, but like we'll try and distract the lads on stage and try and make them laugh and stuff, like, you know. So yeah, probably a Corona's gig of some sorts, like, you know, just because like it's such a like a community thing as well. Like I say, like I buy tickets to go to Corona's gigs by myself, but like I know like 6, 7
Yeah.
people that are going
Yeah,
to
sure.
that, like,
I
you know.
seen it when we went to a
There
gig.
you
Sean
go.
brought
Yeah.
me to a gig there last year, and like I think I'd bet like I'd say 30 people that were all like Sean knew, and these are all people that are huge fans of the Coronas. And I thought Sean was like one of the biggest fans of Coronas I've ever met. And then I met some girl who had seen them like over 150 times, been to America to see them. Like, you know what I mean? So unless you're not in that community, you can have a certain, perspective of people that like love bands and like
Yeah.
love an artist so much. Like you have to kind of meet them, be around to understand that they do this for a certain reason. They support these artists for a particular reason because obviously it makes them happy, but also it's like you're meeting people and stuff like that, and that's like what
Mm.
gigs are for. You know what I mean? Like so other stuff like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah. So
give me your best gigs now.
yeah. So best performer I've ever seen was Kendrick Lamar. I saw him in 2022. It was just like an absolute play. Everything was so structured in the way it was done. Like he had dancers, like he sang all his previous hits, normal hits, but like he was saying he had no back for someone who probably doesn't notice. Sean doesn't probably notice. A lot of rap artists, what they do is they play the song and then they'll sing over the lyrics. So a lot of pop artists do this as well because they want to dance and stuff. Where for example, Kendrick Lamar, he's such a strong lyricism. He's or lyricist, should I say? Like he was rapping every single lyric like during the whole show. So for me, like I was just blown away about how much he was able to remember all his lyrics. Like there was like no mistakes. He did stuff where like he'd come on and start off by playing the piano, then go into a song. Like it was, the crowd was great. Now I was actually up at the very top of the Tree Arena for this, and I despise the Tree Arena because the sound is awful.
Tree Arena
You're in
is
such a
shite.
closed area. But I was absolutely blown away. Like I genuinely like it was the first time I had like severe goosebumps at a gig. Like I was just like, this is a real performer. This is someone who cares about their art. And yeah, so Kendrick Lamar was for me. The most fun I ever had at a gig was oh, that's the issue because a lot of gigs I go to will have fun. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's
This.
not one
I'm
I
not
can
gonna lie. I
really
thought this
think.
was a bit of a like strange add-on question. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like surely it's always gonna be the same. It's gonna be
I'll
the
just
same as
tell
the
a
best.
funny story at a gig. So I went to JID. He's a rapper from Atlanta in America. I went with a couple of people, but I went with Jamie Dixon. I don't know if you know him or anything.
Yeah,
But
I do.
shout out
Yeah.
Jamie. Yeah,
Shout out Jamie. Good
yeah.
man.
Shout out Jamie. So Jamie, he's ginger. He wears glasses anyway. So it was very like upbeat gig. Like we were in the Olympia. It was packed that night. So there's loads of mosh pits and stuff like people were going crazy and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so we're all dancing. We're beside a lot of these idiots. Like one fella is just so drunk and he was just pissing us off. So we were all trying to like block ourselves and make like a mini circle from where we are. So anyway, we're jumping up and down and stuff like that. And halfway during like the artist on stage is building up like to like a beat drop or like a part in a song where everyone obviously goes crazy. But I knocked Jamie's glasses off his head like that he was wearing with my hand. And from Jamie's perspective, he said that all he could see was me like dive on the ground where like a huge like 40, 50 people are just jumping up and down to get his glasses. And so all he seen was me dive into like 5 or 15 people to get these glasses, and then he didn't see me come up for like about 20 seconds, and then he just see me like jump up and I had his glasses in my hand. So I basically like knocked his glasses, they fell to the floor, and I was thinking I have probably like 5 seconds to get these glasses before someone stands on them and crushes on them. So it was funny, like I jumped down, got the glasses, he seen me, and then everyone was just jumping up and down like, oh, he's got his glasses, he got his glasses. So that was one thing that I just remember like from a gig that was really funny. Have you got any like experiences like that, like anything funny kind of?
I have a really cool moments that I can give you from a gig that not necessarily funny. Um, so this is another Coronas one. I'll try and keep the Coronas ones like at a minimum because I don't want it just to be Corona Central. But last year at the Olympia gigs with the Coronas, so like they do like 5 nights a year in the Olympia every Christmas. So and I go to all five every year. And one it was the first night last year, and Danny has been like threatening to do this on and off with me for like the last year or two. This isn't something we've ever spoken about. This is just something like he does in the moment in the middle of a set list where like he kind of gives it to me, and he kind of like it teases me. Let's say, but last year they basically have like they had like a camera, and he walked off stage and like came up to the barrier where I was and like was filming the crowd, and like we have this like unwritten rule where like if Danny comes up he's just gonna come to me because I can support his body weight holding him up like that.
Because
So
he's a
like
big guy, just hold him.
he'll stand on the rails, and like I know to carry him, and I know he's gonna jump in at certain points as well. So like he'll like squeeze my hand and be like, I'm gonna jump in 5 seconds, so get ready to like break my fall almost. So like he comes in and he like comes up to the thing, and for the last like every once in a while he'll just like do that with the microphone at me, to be like, be ready to sing. And
Mm.
last year he just gave me the microphone and he just let me sing.
Let's
So
go.
I got to sing the last verse of Mark My Words in the Olympia last year, which was really really cool.
Probably one of the
Um,
best moments of your life.
yeah. It was, and like it was like, because it wasn't just that, like it was also projected onto the big screen, and thankfully I have a couple of videos of it as well. So it's yeah, I can
Big
officially
moment
say I've
for.
sang in the Olympia with the Coronas, like so.
There you go.
There you
There you
go.
go.
But
Throw
yeah,
that on the
that was
CV.
pretty sick. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I have a couple of other things that I wrote here. Oh, voice break.
Oh, Jesus
That
Christ!
was a
wasn't
crazy voice break.
that was not his
Whoa.
microphone, folks. That was his actual voice.
I just hit puberty. Yeah, so prices at gigs. So this is more surrounding like around beverages and cloakrooms and stuff like that. So what's your opinion on this? Obviously the prices differ between festivals and gigs and concerts and stuff, but what's your experience?
I think they are like starting to get treated like cinema prices when that's not like a comparable market. So like
No.
like for example, when you go to the cinema, like the cinema itself actually gets very little money from your cinema ticket. I think they'll only get like €1 or two from your cinema ticket, because the box office and the studio get the
Yeah, yeah.
most of the cut, so that's why when you go to the cinema, like popcorn and drinks and all that sort of stuff is extortionately priced, because they gotta pay their staff and they gotta keep the place open and clean and stuff, and I feel like gigs are like trying to act like that's the case, when like it's really really not. Like venues make really good money on a gig, whether they sell 500 points or 5,000 points. They will make good money off a percentage of the ticket sales. Like to book any venue, you basically have to rent it like a room, because they have all the equipment. They have the guitar amps, they have the PA, they have the lights, the cameras, and all that sort of stuff. And like it's basically, it's one of those things that all you have to do is clean it, and it's like an evergreen thing. Like people will always need to put gigs on and stuff. Now you got to, of course, pay your sound engineers and stuff, and you do want drink sales, at the end of the day. But like the likes of like again the point and like festivals and stuff, you're like, I'm not drinking, but like I go and like pay like £4 for a cola, or like I'm
Even
buying
more.
Simone a drink.
It's six now. Like it's a bit
That's
ridiculous,
the
especially in
cola.
this
That's not
area,
for an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah.
the prices at gigs are, and like gig tickets are becoming
Yeah,
ridiculous. Like
Absolutely
the whole
ridiculous.
the whole Oasis thing, I cannot believe how much people were paying for tickets. Like,
Oh, I can.
you know,
I can. That's the norm now. That's the thing. Like, not even Oasis, for example. Like, any artist now that's either in the mainstream or that's on a high level. Like, I remember years ago, you used to be able to go to, like, the Olympia for, like, 30 quid. Like, you'd be able to see an artist for, like, 30, 35 quid. I can't remember the last time I paid 35 quid for a ticket to see a gig. Like, prices now, with obviously with extortion and stuff like that, it's gone up the roof. Like, things are like, you're paying nearly 70, 80 quid. That's like the lowest amount for a gig. Now it's like, for see artists like Oasis or maybe Adele, for example, like you're talking nearly £1,000 just to see one artist for what?
what's the most
a
you've ever
2 hour
paid
set.
for one? What's the most you've paid for one ticket?
I paid last minute for a ticket, like because I really wanted to see this artist. I paid 150. Yeah, that's the
that?
most I paid. It was J. Cole when I was like 20, not even 20, like 19 or 20. He was my favorite artist at the time, and I hadn't seen him. But yeah, that was another great gig as well. Yeah, but yeah, it was 150 back in time. But that you're talking 7 years ago, so
Yeah.
that was really expensive at the time for that particular gig.
Was that face value as well?
That was not face value. That was me buying off someone second hand.
Yeah.
So the prices were actually cheaper. Originally the gig was 90 quid, so I just
Okay.
paid extra because someone was selling that and they couldn't go or whatever.
I think there's levels to it as well. It depends on where you're going. Now, I actually don't know about the Olympia, because I bought tickets to a gig in the Olympia this week, which I'm going to in October, the academic, and the tickets cost me 35 quid each. You know,
yeah, yeah.
after booking fees, 37.50 each or something like that. So I spent about 75-80 euro or something like that on the tickets, which I think is very
That's
reasonable. But
reasonable.
like, I think you have to take into account like the type of performance you're getting. So like when you step up to the Three Arena, you're kind of expecting to pay anywhere between 50 to 75 quid because you there's now a lot more overheads, there's a lot more staff that have to be paid.
Visuals
There's
and
probably a
everything. Yeah.
bigger band, you know, and like as much as you don't want to, people might not want to hear this. You're also paying for the backstage rider,
Mm.
the booze and promoters and all these extra little
Loads of
things, like
things.
you know, which will drive that price up, like you know. But like I've seen people paying like mad money for like shows, and like I think some shows like are too complicated as well. Like you know, like one that I went to recently was, and this is the most money I've paid for a concert ticket ever, was 120 quid. Right,
Okay.
100's where I'm kind of like maxing out, and I got my ticket for Dua Lipa for 120 quid. Right
Hmm.
now, I've made it no secret on the podcast. I love Dua Lipa. I think she's an incredible vocalist. I love.
Do you think she was worth 120 quid?
No, I don't.
No.
And it's not she was great. She was exceptional, but like the show she puts on was just too complicated for her music. You know,
Hmm.
and I also understand I am not Dua Lipa's target audience. I'm a fucking 25-year-old football guy
Who
who
loves
predominantly
Dua Lipa?
likes rock music, and I just happen
And
to
pop.
fucking love Dua Lipa's music, right? And like even there, you know,
Weird
it
comparison.
was full. It was full of like young girls. Like when I say young girls, I'm talking like 16 to 20-year olds. Like I'm not talking about like not
Well,
12-year olds.
that's our audience.
You know, yeah. So like I get she's trying to target them, but I was like, you probably could have. Like I think mine was the cheapest tier of ticket. Like because I was like up in the stands sitting, you know, like there was people who were paying, like I think me and one of the lads from work were trying to get tickets on the same day when they came out, and he got a ticket in his thing, and it was like 270 quid for a
Yeah.
ticket, and he was like, no, like I think that was for a standing or for like a good seat, and like I wouldn't have paid that as well, and like you know just the reason for that price is because like the stage and the setup was just fucking like nuts, and it was just too, it was too much, you know, in my eye, like you know, I feel like you know keep it simple is always best rule of thumb, like you
I
know.
think the one thing like that maybe viewers or like the perspective of people that just like music, I don't think they realize that most of the money that artists make is from touring. So for them to get payments, like you even think about like all these rappers that flaunt all these the monies and the chains, the women and everything and the cars and stuff. Like for them to even be in an environment to have all them things, they need to be touring like
Yeah,
consistently
sure.
all year round. Like you're talking like 6 months where you're just on the road the whole time. You seen, I for example, like Tyler the Creator was he just did a big Europe tour, and even he came out and said it, like he was saying like how hard that is for them to consistently make money in the music industry. That's
Mm.
where you have a lot of people like James Blake would be another artist who came out about 2 years ago and is only releasing music not on platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. He's making his own specific website for real fans that want to listen to his music from them, which I understand because you're making art, you're making your own music. You're not becoming just another number on Spotify streaming platforms and that you're just following this. Because a lot of artists don't get paid what they should do for their art, and that's the issue. And
Mm.
this is where my issue with talking to you before about quick songs, quick singles. Like a lot of singles, especially, I know you don't know that much about the rap and hip hop industry, but from the new era of hip hop and rap, songs are coming out on a daily basis. Like you're talking like artists are throwing songs out here and there just for quick grabs of cash. Because yeah, they do make money off revenue and streams, but it's not as much as the audience and people think it is. So
No,
like
no.
that's I think people need to take into consideration why gigs are so expensive because like Shaun said there's a lot of things that need to be paid for in the background that people don't even think about. Like
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
staff, the beverages and everything like that. But yeah, bit off topic there, but overall what's your opinion on kind of prices at gigs?
I think they've gone too far. I think this dynamic pricing thing is disgusting because like it
Yeah.
was like it was such like a pressure point for me. Like it was one of the most stressful parts about planning my headline show for me was deciding how much we were going to charge, and I still to this day felt I overcharged people for what they got. Now, the ticket for my gig was €25 in the
Mm.
Soundhouse, right? and a big chunk of that, basically, Ticketmaster took about 550 off each ticket.
Yeah.
So to me, like, no, that's where that's what that, like. So I basically had like my spreadsheets and my margins, and I had to be realistic about how many tickets I could sell, and how many people would come, and how many, like, of the support act and stuff. Like, it's why, like, before the gig, like, I was so heavy on promoting it, like, because I had to break even. Like, I took out a loan for it, like, I
Hmm.
had to break even. At very least, which thankfully we did, and we like, the gig made like 150 quid, um so but it was such a pressure point, because like, for me, I wanted to pay the guys in the band fairly, which they realistically weren't, like, but they were paid for what they did, like,
Hmm.
and you have to take into consideration the transport on the day to and from the venue, and to rehearsals and booking the rehearsal studio, like, that all, like, was factored into the price, like, like, so, like, your ticket that you pay €25 for, like, broken down, was like, like, I think it was ticket number 67 was the one that was our break even point. So that was where, like, I was like, I have to sell 67 tickets. I think we sold like 72, 73 or something in the end on Ticketmaster, and I think we sold a couple on the door then as well. So thankfully we did, but like, it was such a pressure point. It's like, it's something that, like, I'm not currently, like, planning a headline show, but I'm considering my next headline show, and like, where it's going to be and stuff. But it's like, it's such a big thing that's on my brain, of like, I don't want to overcharge people, but I also want to pay people fairly. Like, I would like to give the guys in the band a fair fee. I want to book studios, and like, I also don't want to do, like we've said before in the podcast, I don't do stuff half-arsed. Like, I won't
Yeah, yeah, it's 100%
book
that.
I won't book a shitter room, or I won't, like, even when it comes to venues, like, I won't do a headline show in a venue that I don't think is good enough for my, like, the show that we put on. And like, I want, also, when people come into the room and stuff, I want them to be like, oh, this is a cool venue, like, I'm happy to be here. Whereas, like, we know there's some venues in Dublin, you walk in and you go, I fucking hate this venue, it's shite,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
There's so many of them, like, and I think that's again personal opinion about how people feel about different gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's,
And
sorry,
atmospheres.
overall, like, I think they're going the wrong direction. They're only going up, which I
Hmm.
understand, everything's going up. And like, a bit, also another factor to that is like, price of fuel to transport
Hmm.
all the stage and
Equipment.
the equipment and the people and stuff, is a big part to it as well, with oil prices going up as well, which has to be considered. But yeah, it's a bit,
Yeah. Another
sorry,
one I
I just
have
went on a tangent there.
is yeah, crowd styles. So, for example, like, um, there's different types of music grasp different types of atmospheres. So, like, if you're going to a heavy metal concert, you know what the atmosphere is going to be like. You're going to get people stomping, you're going to get mosh pits, you're going to get pushing. But then, for example, you might have the opposite scale of that. Like, for example, in the new year, myself and Nicola are going to see Hans Zimmer, and this is kind of the first kind of sit down concert I'll probably be at, because this is going to be more of a show type uh, concert to experience. So,
Mm.
what's your opinion, and like, what have your experiences been at gigs? Like, so for example, like, there's one that I remember um, being with Shaun, where he probably wasn't the most comfortable, was when we went to the Arctic Monkeys in the Tree Arena.
Mm.
Shaun didn't have the best experience there. Like, after the gig, he said he didn't enjoy it because it was very rough within the areas. But then again, like, it is kind of the thing is, like, you know what you're gonna get when you go to certain areas. Like, for when we went to see Liam, both times we, like, both atmospheres were rough, because you've got people coming from um the UK, and they tendencies to be a big drink and bring an atmosphere at these gigs. Then you also um like, for example, like, raps often have a lot of mosh pits as well. So, like, it all depends the different areas of music. But, like, again, like for me, when I'm watching gigs, I don't like to be right up the front. I like to be somewhere middle right, middle left, because if it does get messy, I can just move myself back out of the atmosphere. Where Shaun likes to be at the front of gigs. And then he said there's also pros to that as well, like, because you can get water from security guards and stuff. So, like, what's your kind of overall experience with crowd styles and stuff, like, and what do you prefer and what do you don't think prefer and stuff like that?
I mean, like, I don't love the idea of like mosh pits and stuff. Like, I think they can be done safely, and it really, I think safe mosh pitting like needs like the artist kind of really needs to take accountability in that, like because I've seen it done well. I've seen artists take accountability, like and Sam Fender was actually where it happened. Like people were doing mosh pits, but like he made it a point to say, right, lads, if you are going to mosh in this section of the song, do it safely, look after each other. He like fully like spent a good minute explaining like how to do it, and like if someone doesn't look into it, don't touch them, blah blah. Like whereas then like I've been to like that for the first time we went to see Arctic Monkeys was really bad in that regard. Like where like there was just some assholes who like were just shoving people left, right, and center who clearly didn't want to be like. And I got fucking whacked a couple of times by people. I got my phone taken off me by a guy who was giving out that I was like recording a section of a song and stuff. Like he was like, "Oh, put your phone away, blah blah blah." Gig and and then like there's the opposite case then like where like. You also have like I think this is like really associated with like Taylor Swift fans, but I think I've seen it quite a bit with like Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo fans as well, where like they like are kind of like they think because they're hardcore fans they take priority over security and health and safety in venues and stuff as well, like with their own ticketing systems and this sort of carry on, like ultimately when you go to a gig, enjoy the gig however you want, whether you want to record the whole set list on your phone, whether you want to take a photo and put your phone in your pocket, whether you think phone shouldn't be out or whatever. As long as you go to the gig and like just be mindful of other people. Like don't talk during the quiet songs. Like that wrecks my head when someone's like playing a really like emotional ballad or a quieter song and people just aren't respecting it. Or heckling as well. Like heckling works at comedy gigs. And sometimes some bands want you to heckle. I don't mind massively when people heckle me, but like sometimes it gets in the way of the show that the band are putting on. Like I've seen it for the Coronas work both with them against them. Like I've seen them engage and play off it really well, and then like I've seen people do it at the wrong times during the wrong song or the wrong like moment where they're explaining something in the set list, and it kind of just ruins the vibe. Like so try and just be aware of other people around you and try and just have a good time at gigs. Like that's
I think
where I'm
what
at.
you're saying there that I'm kind of seeing is crowd control is becoming like a big thing, kind of with like festivals and bigger outdoor gigs now. Obviously, I don't know if you might have seen it, but like 2 years ago, that whole instance at Astro World where Travis Scott, people died at his concert due to overcrowding, not having good control over the crowd control. I mean, this has happened many times before. He's not the first. He won't be the last. It's happened at many gigs over the years. I think it is important now for artists like going forward, especially ones that have big fan bases, is like control the crowd. But I feel like people like can control the crowd in more of like a light-hearted way rather than it can be given as like serious demand and safety control. I think that's also on like the securities on job, because a lot of time people are getting hired for these security gigs and necessarily they don't have experience within security. And I've noticed this a lot at gigs, especially growing up. When you think back when I was bringing this title up, or this topic up, sorry to say, it's like security guards like are doing sometimes bare minimum at gigs. Like a lot of the time they're just standing and observing the crowd, and like I've experienced, I've been at gigs where like fans have been telling security guards, look, there's someone back there, they're not breathing, they're not, they don't have enough water, and a lot of times the security guards are just like looking away, not concentrating, because they're getting paid bare minimum thing. So I do think it is on the artist, but I do also think like whoever is planning and putting security teams in place, it's like really there should be like a co interaction between crowd, artists on stage, and security. And like another prime example was when we went. I don't. You were at Jerry's Cinema, I think, but I was. Yeah. So like we were there, and I was myself and one of my mates, Killian. And there was a girl like that fell from someone's shoulders, and it took like 15 minutes for someone to come and get the girl that was on the ground. So it's like situations like that. Like why wasn't there like someone telling the artist on stage, look, there's people like control the crowd, da da da. Which there is, because there's always a lot of time at gigs that yourself there's someone in your ear. Maybe not for like smaller base gigs like the Olympia or stuff like that, but like if for example like the Tree Arena, I've seen this happen a lot. Or the Point, as many people would call it. It's like there's not enough control and safety security with these situations. I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one because like at the end of the day as well, like you do. It's not. I don't think the onus is solely on the. It's a complicated one. It is. It's pretty complicated. Like because like the artist at the end of the day wants to put on a show. Like you wouldn't say the same thing for a play. Which
No.
I know a gig and a play are two different things, but at the end of the day, they're both putting on a performance, putting on a show that is rehearsed and tight and stuff. I agree with your point of like sometimes security can be a bit lackluster as well, but then also just to play devil's advocate a little bit, like if security touch you, they need a reason to touch you, because
Yeah.
if they touch you, it's like when you go into a shop as well. Like if they say you've robbed something when you haven't, or when you're trying to like bait them into doing that so that you can then sue them for defamation of character and stuff. Like you have to be very, very careful. It's also a tough job to hire for, because like the pitch is basically you need to work for security
For
for
people.
events, which means you get to go to these events, but you get to look at none of them, and you don't even
Yeah.
really get to hear them because a lot of the time they're wearing their headphones to communicate with each other. Like so it's a tough sell, but
Yeah.
I take your point. Like
Yeah. I think like it's a co-interaction between everyone involved where it's a bit of a sticky situation because from the public eye it's not done very well. Maybe it's something that they probably need to look at going forward, like how they can compromise and make sure that everyone is safe in the environment. Because I mean, there's been many cases where this hasn't gone well, but I think that is something that we're going to see a lot more crowd controlled with future gigs, especially like bands and stuff like that, and big artists, rap artists. You can definitely see it. Have you got any that you want to talk on the topic that came to your head? Or?
there was just two more things that we have in the chat. Like so, what's the worst gig you've been to?
The worst gig I've been to was actually with you.
Are we gonna have the same answer for this?
Yeah, it was Louis Berry
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the Olympia.
No, that was the Soundhouse.
Sorry, the Soundhouse. It was terrible. He came late. He did like a 45-minute set.
The
He
sport
brought
act
like
was on for longer than him.
yeah, the sport act was on for longer than him. He came in like pretty pissed. All his mates were there at the front that were kind of heckling him like during the just songs. It was just a terrible gig. I don't really know what else much to say about it. Like I was thinking that you were gonna have a different one, but I'm surprised that you said the same one.
Nah, yeah, it's the same. It was a pretty shit gig. Like
Yeah.
like it's like when I because I like you can think of gigs and be like, oh, things can be a bit harsh or like whatever, but like that was just like or like things could be like you might think on one day it was good, like the thing I said about Dua Lipa there about the ticket not being worth it doesn't mean the gig was bad. It was still a great gig, just I didn't feel like it justified the price, whereas like the Louis Berry one was like just a bad gig. Like he didn't play very well, he played a really
No.
short set, he wasn't very engaging, and like I
No.
regretted going while I was there and after. Like I think you're in the same boat.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, you're not gonna enjoy every single gig you went to, and like I obviously have not been to as many as Shaun, so maybe like I remember like enjoying myself more at other gigs than maybe some of the other ones I've been to because I've been to so much fewer than Shaun. Where I think like for example, because you've been to so many Corona gigs, like it's hard for you to judge like which ones were bad and which ones weren't so good and which ones are
Yeah,
better
I
because
only
you've
remember
seen
the
the
best
same
ones.
artist
Yeah.
so many ones. That's what I'm saying. But like that's a good thing because like when you're going to see an artist, you're going to enjoy yourself. Like no one really goes to an artist and thinks, "Oh, this is going to be dreadful." Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Maybe the only time you'd actually experience that would be when you're at like a festival and you're going to see many different bands or new artists that you haven't seen before and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
Um,
to maybe put a more positive spin on it, then like who's the best and worst support acts you've ever seen?
Oh, good question. Uh, Hold on, because I actually have a list of support acts that I've seen on my phone. Because people always ask me like, "Oh, what gigs have you been to? And what support acts have you seen?" I think one of the best pre-acts that I've seen, and I've never actually seen them as for one of their own headline shows, is Blossoms. And me and Shaun are both big fans of them, so Blossoms probably one of the best pre-acts I've seen. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Blossoms.
I
my best
also
bet,
am
I would
going
say.
with Blossoms. The Blossom.
Yeah,
I have a huge Blossoms fan now. I listen to
yeah,
Blossoms almost every day, and I've seen Blossoms 5 times, and twice was as a support, and then 3 times as a headline.
yeah. And the worst pre-act I've probably seen was probably there was a rap artist called Bass, and then another one that came to my head was Richard Ashcroft, who's the main singer of the well-known band The Verve. And I loved The Verve growing up. I just thought he was so pretentious when we saw him. He was like, he came on, he had like a mannequin on stage with his own like merch on it. He had like a scarf. I really just think he's an arsehole. Personally speaking, I just like, you know, there's some artists where like a lot of people have this perspective about Liam Gallagher. You know what I mean? Like that they're just known for being a twat. Like that was my perspective of Richard Ashcroft. But
Yeah.
I don't know what you probably, what's your worst experience?
Mine was also at a Gallagher Brothers gig back when I was into Noel. It was the support act for the first time I saw Noel. It was the day I met him. I don't know. I actually couldn't tell you the name of him, but it's this band,
Okay.
and they were fucking dreadful. Like they were playing the Three Arena, and it's the first and only time I've seen a band get booed off stage. They were so bad. Like it was just like, I don't actually know how. Like I can actually just remember the whole stage aesthetic. Like they had like this kind of like pink and lime yellow vibe going on for them. And hold on, let me look this up who they were, 'cause this is gonna bother me. But like I've never been to a gig and like seen a crowd boo off. Hold on, let's get ChatGPT up here and get this in here.
Well,
Who supported No Gallagher?
While he does that, I will say the final question I have for Shaun while he's doing that is an artist he would love to see dead or alive that he hasn't seen. For me, if it was dead, it would probably be Amy Winehouse or Michael Jackson, and then alive, I would say maybe Adele, probably Adele for me. She's up there, one of the big ones. I'm sure there's like so many other artists that will come to my head as well. Has Shaun found his band that he's looking for?
So when I asked ChatGPT, it's telling me that there's no evidence of a support act.
Shaun
Maybe
made it up,
they
basically.
maybe
He
they
made
just
up
don't exist anymore. They've obliterated themselves, which honestly, like
it was a fake. It was a fake. If it was a fake artist, he just made the whole thing up.
um yeah, like I don't know what to say there. Then I don't know what the name of them were, but like that was, and also there was another honorable mention to when we went to see Catfish and the Bottomans. Do you remember there was a band like called like the Lemon Twigs or something like that?
Oh yeah, they were pretty.
And they were awful. They were really bad. Like,
So what's
sorry.
So the question I asked, sorry, I'll repeat it, is artists that are alive you'd like to see.
There's only two I have left to kind of tick off my bucket list, and that's Paramore. And I was fuming because the last time Paramore
Great
came
band.
to Dublin, I had just gotten into Paramore, like after the tickets had gone on sale for their last Dublin show, which is just fucking awful timing, like but I only really got into them, and they haven't come back since. They haven't been back to Europe. Well, no, sorry, that I honestly would have went to see Taylor Swift just to go and see Paramore support, because like
They were the
that's
support act.
incredible. Like Simone was like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind going to see Eras tour," and I was like, "If I know a handful of Taylor Swift songs, like I'd go more just to be there for the pop culture buzz, like just to be like, oh, this is what everyone's talking about." But then I was like, Paramore support, and what the fuck? I actually was annoyed that I didn't get a ticket for that, So yeah, I definitely want to see Paramore.
As a dead artist, any dead artist that you wish you saw?
Probably a bit cliche. Actually, the Beatles. I would have liked to have seen the Beatles in their prime. Yeah, or like I think I imagine I don't know. I have a good guess of who I think you would say as well. Like I know I know you said Michael Jackson, Amy Winehouse there, but I also have another band in mind that I think you're gonna say as well. But yeah, probably the Beatles for me, and another one that's alive still. But I'm waiting for the right time to go and see them. Is Post Malone? I know you've seen Post Malone live, and I've had the chance to see Post Malone, but I'm waiting for Post Malone to release like a rock album, because Post Malone's a rocker. He likes to rock out. And I'm waiting for him to bring out, like he did with the country music, I want him to bring out a rock album and like tour that album, so like we get the likes of Better Now and I'm just after blanking, and Circles and Sunflower, and
It's acoustic songs.
all those other big singles, like, you know, Congratulations, like, and all those other kind of ones. But then he's doing the album songs off a rock album, you know.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, he's good.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, well, that's all I got. All I got time for, folks.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap the episode up here. We've been going for well over an hour now, so probably a good time to wrap this up. But guys, thank you so much for listening to the Distance Dilemma podcast. This was episode number 38. Don't forget, me and Imran said we were just...
Whoa.
Shit,
38.
no, it's 32, 31. Holy shit, what the hell?
He's getting tired, lads. He's getting tired.
Getting tired. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to episode number 38 of the Distance Dilemma.
You just said it again. 31.
Fuck me, oh my god.
I'll do the outro, guys. Sorry, Shaun is having a moment. Yes, I'd like to thank you for listening to the Distance Dilemma podcast for this week. I'm Imran and I'm in Town. Shaun is in Dublin, Ireland. Thank you for listening to the Distance Dilemma. We will see you next week. Or actually, not next week. Our episode will be out on Monday, 6 a.m. I'm having a brain fart here. I'm doing a show.
6 a.m. Irish time, 7 a.m. Central European time, baby. And we will see you again next week. Thanks very much for listening, guys. All the best.